I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is the EditorX platform. EditorX is a product that's owned by Wix. It is an advanced website builder where you have complete design control over the entire website, including all the breakpoints, but then there's also a powerful content management system connected to the platform, as well as all kinds of different business apps that you can use to build on and add functionality to your website. And additionally, you can even add custom code through the proprietary code platform connected to GitHub. So there's all kinds of really cool things that you can do with EditorX. Sharing my screen here, I've actually created an account we have an account with EditorX because we run our website through EditorX, but this is the dashboard that you would see when you first create an account with EditorX. And if you have multiple sites, you would see them up here. But what I'm going to do for this demo is I'm just going to create a new site so that, it went into a new screen. Just a second here. Okay, here we go. So that I could show everyone around EditorX and the types of things that you can do. So whenever you go to create a new site, you have to choose which platform you want to use, whether it be EditorX or Wix. We're going to go ahead and choose EditorX here. Okay, so when you create a new site, you're brought into this sort of splash screen, which allows you to either choose one of their pre-built templates, which are all really nice. You can see all the different options here. There's a ton of templates in here just to get like your creative juices flowing. You can also start from scratch, which is what we're going to do here for today's demo, because this is more intended as a general overview of EditorX in the platform and where everything is located. So we'll go ahead and just choose blank here and go ahead and hit edit. Depending on your internet speed in your browser, it may take a second for this to queue up. And of course, this popped into another tab. So one more second. Here we go. So what has happened here is it created a new site for us. And because we chose blank site, there's really nothing here except for the basic elements of a web page. So we have the header, we have the main section, which is blank, which would be the body of our website. And then we have a footer. Across the top here, we have our main menu, where we can do different things with the site, like preview, published, look at the SEO. We have this view tab, which just has a couple settings like zoom in and out, different tools like our media manager and our libraries. There's dev mode, which we won't get into here. And of course, your help menu, if you need any support, this links to like Academy X and all kinds of useful tools. That's where you would go ahead and upgrade your site. Over to the right, you can invite collaborators to your project, which is super cool. There's a really nice collaborative feature within the editor, so multiple people could be working on a project at one time. You can preview a site at any time, and you, of course, publish it to your own custom domain or a EditorX domain. So all that is here for you. In this menu here, this is where you can add all the basic elements to your site, everything from text to images to repeaters, which are getting into working with data. But you have all these different sort of composition tools and layout tools, buttons, text, media, contacts, and forms. So there's really a ton of pre-built options in here, which is really nice for you because you don't have to really start from zero. You could start from one with all these pre-built elements. Everything is visual, drag and drop. So if you wanted to add an element to the page, you could simply click add element, which just brings up this side panel again. And if you wanted to add some text or an image to the page, you could simply just drag it into your page and then click into it and edit your text. You can move and reposition things around. And when you click on an element, you actually get this menu over to the right where you can control all the styling and even things like animations, but you can make your text bold, you can change the colors, you can italicize it, you can change all the spacings and the margins, you can change your fonts, all kinds of different things like that. There's triggers that you can build into your text. We won't get into a lot of this, but I want to show you that it's all there. Coming back up here to the sub menu, we have these layers. These are really important because this is basically your site structure. As you can see here, we have this really basic site with a header, our main body section, and our footer. As we add elements into our page, like if we were to add another section, we'll just do a blank section. You'll see that in the layers panel on the side, it creates this section. So as your site gets bigger, the layers panel is a really useful place to manage and edit all the content in your site because it can get a little bit complex as you add elements. So you really use this sort of layer tree to navigate through your site and control the different styles and elements. Right here is site masters, which is the next menu in this submenu. Think of site masters as something that will be reused throughout multiple pages of your site. The most common example of this is like a header and a footer. As you build your pages, you wouldn't want to have to rebuild your header and footer on every single page. That would be redundant because your header and your footer are basically going to stay the same. So you can build a header that will be like a master element, and then on every page you can just drop in that master and it will appear on every page. And if you make changes on one page, it will change on the rest. Just to show you an example, if we go into our header and we add some text as an example here, and then we add a new page to our site. Let's just go ahead and add a new page. You can add a standard page or dynamic page. We won't really get too much into dynamic pages, but just know that they're there. But if we add a second page and call this about us, now we have a second page to our site. We have the home and we have an about us. But as you can see, this text is on both pages. So if we go to about us, that text there. If we go home, that text there, because it's in the global master section. So that's just masters. They're there to make your web design process easier and faster. And there's not too much more there, but you can add all kinds of different masters. They don't have to be header and footers, but that's the most common example. Right here is your different site styles. So this is where you have all your text styles, all your color styles for the pages of your site. Also, different transitions can be here within the site styles. Next up in this menu is the app marketplace. So this is a really big section of EditorX. There's all kinds of apps that you can integrate into your site, from SEO type apps to things to help you with e-commerce and event management and everything in between. They even have apps that are built by Wix. So this is a marketplace, but there are apps that are built not only by Wix, but by Wix and EditorX, but by the public as well. Some are free, some are paid. There's all kinds of different things here. There's a rating system, so you can really see what apps are popular and what apps have high reviews. I really think a good place to start is looking into the Wix Business Solutions apps. These are all developed by Wix. So there's a lot of really good apps here that add a ton of functionality right into your site, like forum, live chats, ticketing and events. You can easily spin up a blog. I will go ahead and just add one of these to the site just so you can see how quickly this works. So let's just say we want to add a blog. We could click add to site. As you can see, it's free to install. It's going to actually not only add like a blog page to our site, but all the other elements that are required for the blog to work. So it just went ahead and did this. Now, if we go to our site pages here, we can actually see that it created a blog post, a blog page, which would show all of our blog posts, and then a post page, which is a dynamic page, which would have the sort of long form content of the blog. So super powerful. It's building all of this stuff for us dynamically just by adding the app. Of course, you can go in and restyle all of this however you want, but it has a really nice pre-built out of the box functionality. Another sort of hidden feature that a lot of people miss is within your site pages, you have these three little dots or ellipses here. If you click any of these, you get a whole nother set of options here where you can rename your page. You can get really into the SEO, which is really important. You can give your page a title, new home, for instance. You could add the meta description. You could add like the social share open graph items here. So if you share your page on social media, you don't want it to just appear as like a link. You want some nice graphics to show. So you could add all that kind of stuff here. There's even like platform specific settings like Twitter. You can customize all of that here in the SEO settings. You can also control the permissions. This is getting a little bit more in depth, but you can create pages that are password protected if they were for clients or something like that. You could even create membership sites with EditorX, so you can have pages that are only specific to your members or even a subset of members. So if you sell different plans, you could have pages that are only visible to certain members on a certain plan. And if you had different plans, that's how they would show up here. You could see, as you can see, only selected members are paying customers, and you could add a pricing plan. You'd have to build out the plans, but it's all dynamic and it's all connected. So if you add a plan, you have members on that plan and they're paying for your plan, as long as they're active members, they would get access to this page. So there's really a ton you can do with permissions with EditorX, which is super cool, and you can really build complex sites within EditorX using the member functionality. Just moving along here, there's a couple more things I want to show you just to give you the layout of the land. This tab here is the content manager. Again, a super cool feature of EditorX. Within the content manager, think of the content manager as your database for your site. So if you had like a collection of events or concert dates or no code tools like we do in our case, you could add this content manager to your site. You could then take the content that's in your content manager or your database and display it on your site using a repeater or dynamic pages. It's really easy. You can just hit add to site. When you click add to site, it gives you some preset options that you can choose from. So they have these like pre-built collections already here for you, but you actually don't have to do this. You can exit out of it and you can just hit start by adding content. And let's just say this is our team members. And we hit create. It brings us into this almost like this Excel spreadsheet table feel. Right now, there's nothing in here, but you can quickly populate this with different types of field. This could be like the team member image. This could be their title. Not going to worry about capitalization there. We could rename this to be like their name. Okay. And then quickly, you could just add items. You could be art. You could add an image for art. You could use the pre-built libraries that are connected here. They connect with Shutterstock, Unsplash. They actually have media from Wix, but you could just choose a photo. You could upload your own photo, and you could do president or something like that. And then you could take this data that's in this collection and you can display it on your page via a repeater. So a ton that you can do. You can have collections that reference each other in all kinds of different things. It's super complex. That's a whole nother that's a whole nother session that we can get into, but you can sort and filter these collections. You can manage them in all kinds of different ways. There's a ton that you can do, but I just wanted to show you that the collections were there and you can easily add data. I'll just show you just how quick and easy that is to do. You could just simply add a repeater into your page. And when you add a repeater, it adds this block to your page. You simply just need to connect this to data. Click create data set, and here's our collection that we just created of team members. So that's pretty cool. So we've mapped this to team members. And if we wanted to start displaying the data in these blocks from the team members collection, it's as easy as adding an element into one of these blocks. So if we add an image element, let's just start with the text, actually, a text element into a repeater, and then we connect this to the team members data set and we map it to the name. Right there, dynamically, art shows up in this block. If we were to go back to our data set, team members, and add another item, let's just say Quinn, add an image, say this is Quinn. Okay, we can just leave that. We'll see here, there's Quinn, because that text is dynamically updating from this data set. We could add an image into this, and then the same process, just connected to data, team members data set, and what's it connected to, the actual image file, and there we go. Of course, this is not styled in any way, but you get the idea. As you move things in one of these repeater blocks, it's moving for all of them. So super powerful. You even get this floating tooltip here where you can just like quickly jump into this data set to edit the content. And you can choose all kinds of different things, whether it's read and write, read only. You can add filters. You could filter your data. There's conditional statements, super powerful. So I think hopefully pretty quickly you're getting an idea of how powerful EditorX is and the different things that you can do within EditorX just within a couple of minutes, working with data, working with apps, adding a blog, adding a forum, all that kind of stuff. And then of course, like you have complete style control at different breakpoints. So across the top here, you have the pages that we've created, which is basically just our About Us page. There's this sort of like automatically created search result page. And then you have the blog pages that were added automatically when we added the blog app to our website. But then you also have these different breakpoints. So this is your desktop primary view. You also have a pre-made tablet view and a mobile view. But what's even better is that you can add all kinds of different custom breakpoints to your app. So if you were building something that was for like a kiosk in a mall, as an example, and you knew the specific screen size for that kiosk, you could actually add that breakpoint here and then build a whole view that is optimized for that specific screen size. But by default, you have like your most common, which are desktop, mobile, and tablet. And the hierarchy here is pretty cool. Any changes that you would make like for a custom mobile view would just be specific to that view. So you could really have a different experience and different breakpoints as well. So if you want like limited functionality or just want to declutter your mobile view, you could easily do that as well. So there's a ton that you can do. A lot of the styling customization is found when you're in this right panel. So if you go to any sort of element within your page, you can click on the image and then you get all of this sort of styling here. Like you could change the opacity if you wanted, you could add borders. Just to show you how quick it is to style things, there's a lot that you can do. So I'm adding borders here. All of this is controlled in this right panel when you're selected on an element. You can remove elements from the page just by selecting them and then clicking delete. So really visual, really drag and drop, but of course you can get into adding custom code and extending this even further beyond the sort of visual interface. I'm trying to think what else here, just from a basic layout of the land of EditorX and how to use the editor. If you want to preview your app, you would just hit preview and you get this live view of your web page. So you're seeing this as someone on the web would see it. When you go back to editing your site, you can publish it and you're good to go live. Of course, you don't have to pay with EditorX until you connect a domain. So feel free to play and build your site until you're ready to go. And then you only have to start paying once you want to connect it to your custom domain. Another thing I want to note is that they have this nice sort of undo feature so that you can quickly reverse any changes that you made, but you can also see all of the version history if you need to roll back to a previous iteration of your website. After you made a bunch of changes, you could do that as well. Moving over here, this is just your notification panel. This is where you would get any in-app notifications. Also, if somebody else was collaborating on the site and made a change or tagged you in something, you can actually tag collaborators when you're working together. For here, you can add a comment. And if you had a team member who was working with you on the site, you could actually tag them and be like, what do you think of this design? And then they would get an in-app notification. So that's where all of that would show. This is how you invite people to your project, is using this invite link. So there's a ton that I didn't cover, but I just wanted to give a really quick high-level overview for anyone who's brand new to EditorX, which I know a lot of members are in this community. So I hope this was helpful. Feel free to drop your questions when we post this to the community. And thanks so much for checking it out.